wondered why you know what you need to do, but you still don't do it? Well, the Journal of Clinical Psychology have highlighted 95% of people procrastinate at some level. And it's not just about discipline, actually. It's about how your brain chemistry works. So when you manage your time well, your prefrontal cortex, right there, right here, this part of your brain is actually responsible for making decisions and self-control. I think my prefrontal cortex is always working because I don't know how to lose control. But the problem that we have is when the limbic system kicks in, that's the bit that actually is the emotional part of our brain. And sometimes it seeks short-term pleasure over long-term rewards. And sometimes we need to understand why it's happening, not just to me, but to you as well. I am the Millennial Coach. You're locked into the core. And we are talking about your brain and the tug-of-war you like to have between productivity and instant gratification. We're living in a world where we are assaulted by social media. The amount of information our mind absorbs and the way we contextualize different experiences, not also based on our own opinions, but based on our social proofed opinions. Today, I'm taking a deep dive in the science of procrastination versus time management and how to train your brain to take control. I am the Millennial Coach and you're locked into the core. You know that this is the show for all things leadership. You know that I'm here to help you think better, be better, see better, and actually have the future that you desire. So do me a solid, like, share, and subscribe. But before we get into the conversation, I do want people to take in the information and implement it, because I don't just do this just for the thrills. I do it so your life can transform. Think about what that could be like in 6 months from now. So let's get into today's conversation. Yalla, yenko, let's go.
Hey everyone, this is Hill Street Soul, and you're tuned in to the core with the Millennial Coach, discussing topics on real life. Check it out. Everywhere you go, don't forget the ghetto. Listen to the core. Don't forget the ghetto. With the Millennial Coach. Don't forget the ghetto. 'Cause it's the best show.
Okay, so when we're challenged by time management, would you say sometimes you struggle with it because it feels like you're procrastinating, or are you truly challenged by time? We've all been there. We've all been there. Like, you need to get to the meeting. You've got up on time. You've had your food. You're on the train or you're driving, and then something happens. Then you're challenged by time, which removes the amount of time that you thought you had. Now it's giving you time that you think you can't make. Versus you get up and you don't shower and you've got ample time, and literally about 6 minutes before you're supposed to leave the house is when you think you're actually going to shower, get out the house, and get to that meeting that you never are going to actually get there on time. You're actually going to get there looking a hot mess because the whole thing started from a place of procrastination. So when you're planning a task, I think what's important is understanding the urgency of the task versus the need of the task. Because you might need to do something, but can it be done today or can it be done in a week's time? So this is the questions that most people don't actually think about. The exploration and development of how the brain handles time management versus procrastination is really important. So when I spoke about your prefrontal cortex, It's the active part of your brain making you make decisions, prioritize, and also excel. But dopamine, which is your rewarding chemical, that sometimes kicks in after completing the task, and that actually reinforces that I've achieved something. Think about when you've studied a course. Think about when you've achieved, people that love to run marathons. I'm personally not that impressed with marathons, but if I go to the gym and I'm able to do leg extensions at 45 kg, 4 sets of 20, thank you, Shelley. That was my previous trainer. 4 sets of 20, I'm still sticking with the 4 sets of 20. I'm starting to see a complete recomposition of my body. So then I reward myself like a bit of fruit in my Greek yogurt. I know that might not sound exciting, but that's what excites me, is that I'm able to do a workout and I've been able to do the straight set without having a break. That in itself is a personal best. So let me just celebrate there. So when you're doing things and your actual dopamine is elevated, you're joyful, you see the world in a really positive place, things work out for you, you know, people are beautiful, even if they're not, but people are beautiful. Everyone you see, you're thinking, oh my God, they're amazing. But there's something else that happens. On the flip side is the procrastination side, because you've managed your time well. So the thing is, there's something called brain hijacking. So it's when your limbic system kicks in and hijacks your prefrontal cortex. So look at me, I'm like, it's just ripped it out of place. So your limbic system, when that kicks in, it hijacks your decision making. And why that's sad to a degree is because the thing that you were going to do that was actually going to elevate you, you've now decided, you've talked yourself out of it, your limbic system's kicked in, and now you've decided, yeah, I'm gonna just chill and watch Netflix. Netflix ain't paying your bills, you're paying Netflix. But the problem that we have is that once your limbic system is literally grounded, the brain releases dopamine. And dopamine is your rewarding element of the limbic system, actually rewarding you for being distracted. So when you have ice cream and then you are enjoying the movie, unfortunately, you're losing, because you allowed yourself to be distracted in a way that actually you needed to manage your time well to be successful. But is it a loss if you're a productive person and something is going drastically wrong and you really can't face it? Maybe not. But if you're someone who's hardly achieved jack diddly squat, get on your game. Get on your game and stop watching Netflix. They are the people I'm talking to. So what happens when you procrastinate is your limbic system kicks in, we've established that. Dopamine, you get rewarded because you want to have a cake or muffin. I personally go to Sainsbury's when I'm in my limbic system state. There's these muffins, they're in the cardboard box, just 2, chocolate, they're fresh, they're so good. Or I go to Costa, because Costa always seems to have fresh muffins, or M&S, but that's a different show, right? This is where I'm getting greedy. But what happens after the dopamine kicks in? You've had the cake. Do you know what happens to us? Our amygdala starts bringing stress to our life. So this is activated because you now know that the deadline that you should have actually prepared for is literally in about 6 minutes. You're stressed because now, this is what the amygdala actually activates, is your stress. And then what happens? You set in panic and regret. So the difference between time management and procrastination can be so quick. And if you choose to make a decision based off of procrastination or your limbic system activation, that's when you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. But I'm going to help you rewire your brain for better management. So the 5-minute rule. Tell yourself you only have 5 minutes to procrastinate. And I do that sometimes, but I don't actually do 5 minutes. I might say, it might be 12 o'clock. I'm like, right. And when I was doing my MBA, I remember I was doing this. So I'll go to Baskin Robbins first. That is not brain food, but it was good food. And I would have my reality shows lined up. So we get our assignments on the Thursday morning. So Thursday night, I would come home from work, 5:30 or whatever it was. Obviously, I've gone to Baskin Robbins, had my custom made tub. Then I get home and then I watch my Real Housewives and eat ice cream. And I give myself, and I start studying at 8 p.m. I study from 8 till 2 a.m. every night until I finish all my assignments. And then I take Wednesday off to reprogram for Thursday's next assignment. That was weekly for 8 weeks per module. That's what I was experiencing. But what I didn't do a 5-minute rule, I just did a time-framed rule. So you can use a 5-minute rule to trick yourself that you've got 5 minutes to chill and do whatever. But once the 5 minutes are up, you've got to get to step in. No excuses. Dopamine on demand. Reward yourself for completing a small task. Don't not do the task and then reward yourself. So if, for example, like today, the fact I got in the car and I drove to the studio, it took me 2 hours to get here. See, this is what I'm doing for you lot. But I had my dopamine fix already ready. So what I did, I actually decided last night when I got in, oh, by the way, one of the things I'm trying to do is give myself a gift every month. So I saw Bilal. So if anyone knows the Soul Sister, he was at the Jazz Cafe last night. So I saw him, he was amazing. I was in the back by myself, all, grinding against the wall. It was amazing. I had the time of my life and it was such a nice vibe. His maturity in singing has evolved. He was amazing. That was my dopamine on demand, knowing that I had something to look forward to. But when I got home, I thought, on the way home, I went to the supermarket, got some Greek yogurt, and then I chopped it up, put some chia seeds, mangoes and all that, and put that in the fridge. So on the way to the studio, my treat was in the car where I was eating my breakfast and I was loving every mouthful, and it was super healthy. So these are things you can do to make your productivity feel as satisfying as procrastination. Things need to taste good and it can be healthy. It doesn't have to be unhealthy. Time blocking, right? So break work into small focused elements. And the thing is, when you say, okay, I'm gonna work from 12 to 2 and I have half an hour, or well, I tend to take an hour, or I look forward to having a hot bath in the middle of the day. This is something I've been doing for a long time. So I might work get in from the gym at like 7, 8 a.m. Trust me, I go very early. Then I would work till about 12, then have some lunch and then work for a couple more hours and have a hot bath for an hour and a half. Plan your joy is what I'm saying. Plan your joy so you have less procrastination and better time management, okay? Plan your joy because you have something to look forward to. Most people don't plan things except for holidays, which, yes, they're good, but at the end of the day, they end. You can do this over and over again, and not everyone has money every single month to go on holiday. So you got to think of how you get your dopamine hits. Reduce temptation. So those of us fatties, because I'm a fatty, we love chocolate, ice cream, cake, all of the above, and Nando's. Sorry, I do like Nando's. I love my Nando's. So what I tend to do is don't have any junk food in the house, because I walk around like a homeless person in my own kitchen looking for junk foods. If there's Ferrero Rocher or there's Flake, or I see if my sister's got any ice cream magnums in the fridge, I look like literally scummering around in the basement of the freezer looking for what ice cream she hasn't eaten. This is why you got to remove the temptation. Visualize. So the next point is visualize. So before starting your day, I would say write out your activities of the day and then visualize how you're gonna feel when you get them done. Because when I write out my activities, then I have a plan to follow. When you don't have a plan to follow, you kind of just float between one thing or the next. So it's really important to do that. But I want to know what procrastination experiences you've had, because procrastination is a form of lack of willpower to a degree. And also, what happens with your procrastination? It takes you on a brain loop because sometimes you're thinking and thinking and thinking about the same thing, but you're not doing it. You're actually doing something else. So you need to really distinguish, am I procrastinating or is this time management spent well? 90% of the time, we've got to rewire our brains for productivity. So it's not time management spent well, it's procrastination. Remember, if your limbic system kicks in, that requires an instant dopamine hit. Then what activates is your amygdala. So I want you to show me or comment below what you've done in terms of what's your biggest procrastination struggle and how do you fight it? So that's the thing. So I want you to give me your feedback. But I am the Millennial Coach. Like, share, and subscribe for your people, and tune in to the next episode that I'm looking forward to presenting to you. So on that note, peace.
Hey everyone, this is Hill Street Soul. And you're tuned in to The Core with the Millennial Coach, discussing topics on real life. Check it out. Everywhere you go, don't forget the ghetto. Listen to The Core. Don't forget the ghetto. With the Millennial Coach. Don't forget the ghetto. 'Cause it's the best show.